Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It is Thursday, and the Packers were back out on the practice field this afternoon. A couple of additional folks put on the injury report, which you never love to see. In fact, it was 3 offensive linemen. Thankfully, Elton Jenkins was just getting a rest day, veteran rest, no injury there for Elton. But Jordan Morgan popped up with a shoulder injury. You have to think that's probably a continuation of the shoulder issue he was dealing with way back this summer. That's something that's been in and out for Morgan throughout the season. And then, probably most concerningly, Rasheed Walker popped up. Now he's listed as limited, so he did participate, but he's dealing with a knee issue. So that's something to look for tomorrow to see. Hopefully, he continues to at least participate on a limited basis. Hopefully he's out there, obviously, on Sunday down in Chicago, but certainly something to keep track of as we approach another showdown with the Chicago Bears. And look, I don't have to tell you guys, this is a wounded animal the Packers are facing. The Bears have a bunch of talent, but they have not been playing well. And that kind of includes on both sides of the ball. We talk a lot about their defense because it is legit, and they have a bunch of really good players, but they have been run on since coming out of their bye week. It's no secret that they are giving up almost over 5 yards per carry since coming out of their bye. I do think this is going to be a big game for Josh Jacobs and company on the ground. I would think with LaFleur, it always kind of is. The temptation is probably there with Jordan Love being as healthy as he's been in a very long time to try to spread it out and throw it down the field. I think that's asking for trouble this week. I do think this is a game you want to control the ball with the running game. This is a team that is ripe for the picking on the ground, and you can find ways to work the ball into the receiver's hands, not necessarily having to work these deep, even intermediate routes. I think this is a game where you lean on that running game, hopefully, early. Now, hopefully you start humming an offense, maybe get the play action going and get Jordan comfortable. I'm all for it, but this is an opportunity for the Packers coming out of their bye, given what they're heading into in the second half of this season, even just immediately after this game. This is a get right game, so to speak, for the Packers, who have not been playing 60 minutes of football in any of their contests so far this year. Opportunity to clean the slate, get down there with your head clear, and don't make some of these pre-snap penalties that have plagued the team this season. Clean up those holding calls. Make sure those passes are looked in and attacked with your hands rather than letting them get into your body. Basically, making sure the details are taken care of, because this is a game the Packers should win. There's zero doubt about that. After this game, man, it does not get any easier. You're talking about, obviously, the 49ers coming to town and then a short turnaround and basically 2 games in a row on a Thursday night against the Dolphins, who, I don't know if you watched that Rams game the other night, but that defensive front has come to life, and it's played better over the course of the last couple games. They were a major problem for the Rams on Monday night. And then, of course, a week later, you're traveling to Detroit, playing a Lions team that is as tough as anybody in the league. So the opportunity is here for the Packers to start out on the right foot on Sunday, take care of business down in Chicago. Don't give them any hope, and carry on your way to hopefully a much cleaner, more efficient second half of the season, starting with a win over the Bears. Hello to everybody in the comments section. So good to see everybody. Chuck's here. Stu, how are you? Ben Rock. Drew Brooks, how are you, man? Dale Norton is here. Good afternoon, Dale. You have not added your location. Usually I get a hello from London or Arizona or Door County, but I have no idea. You could be anywhere in the world today, Dale. Hello from New York. I hope you're doing well. Obviously, before I get going, I got to give a shout out to our good friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy sports made easy. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com and use code CHTV. Spend $5 on lineups and get $50 instantly. You can find it available in 43 different states, most importantly, including Wisconsin. And look, I don't have to tell you guys, big NFC matchup tonight. Got my lineup selected. I got Zach Ertz, the Zach Ertz revenge game, ladies and gentlemen. Give me I think he's going over 40 receiving yards, let alone 35. Jaden Daniels, I do think this is a game where Washington is going to try to run the ball, especially early. I don't know how incredibly effective they're going to be in that regard, but I do think they stick with it, limiting his passing attempts to probably under 30. Saquon Barkley, man, the Commanders are giving up over 5 yards per carry on the season. I think they run Saquon early and often. I think he definitely gets over 20 rushing attempts. And Devontae Smith, I know a lot of talk probably heading into this game tonight will be about A.J. Brown for good reason, especially if Marshawn Lattimore is not able to go. But I think Devontae Smith is such a sneaky play here. I think he definitely gets over 60 receiving yards. He's been, on average, getting around 79 per game. And if he doesn't do that, he gets in the end zone. I just think he's a good play for tonight. We'll see. Make sure you send me your lineups. I had Alex send me his lineup earlier today for this weekend. It's a bold call, man. The bold call. 1 quarterback and 4 running backs all getting into the end zone. Hey, man, let me know how that goes for you. I'm excited to see. Hello to everybody in the comments. How are you? Got Andrew starting us off with a super chat. What's up, man? 4th and 8 from the 48. I am just sending that every chat until Sunday now. Just finished transplants. Put some respect on Dotson's name. What happens if this isn't a get-right game? Win or loss? Go Pack, go. But then that's kind of a testament to who they are this season, right? If there are still drops, if there are still pre-snap penalties, if there's still issues being efficient on offense, if there's still interceptions being thrown, well, you might just start talking about how this is their identity and it's just who they are in 2024. Now, you can't just talk about one game being a referendum on the entire season. Obviously, there's still a lot of ball game left after Sunday's matchup, but you would hope coming out of your bye, little opportunity to reset your season, that you would see a cleaner operation all around from the Packers. Matthew, how are you, man? Thanks for the super chat. Good evening, Nags. Best wishes to you from over the pond, sir. The Bears still suck and Chelsea are beginning to look class. Go Pack, go. Man, every time I feel like Chelsea's getting some momentum or at least kind of starting to figure some stuff out, there's some damn international break. I hate international breaks. I understand why they're necessary and I understand why they do it, but it's the worst. These weekends, this one upcoming with the international break, shit is the worst. Ed, thanks to the super chat, man. Bears do have some good players and have played well at times. However, they suck. Really, really suck. I mean, your overall first point here, Ed, is absolutely spot on. They are not a bad football team. They're 4-1 at home, people. I know the Patriots just went in there and took care of business, but that doesn't automatically mean the Packers are going to. Now, they should, 100%. They're the better team, but the Bears have talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and hell, even on offense. I mean, they got a bunch of really talented pass catchers. They have a rookie quarterback who's trying to figure it out, no question about it. But it's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous week for the Packers. This is not an easy matchup by any stretch of the imagination. There is talent there. Klaus, how are you? Hello's from Denmark. Go Pack, go. Thank you, Klaus. Thanks for checking out the stream. Really appreciate you, man. Must be very late there. Thanks for staying up. Abdul, how are you, man? Aaron, what would you do with 12 if you're the Jets? I saw the clip where he was asked during the availability about continuing to play next year, and sounds like he's thinking like he's going to stick around. I don't know, man. You sold your soul. You made the trade. You brought it all on board yourself if you're the Jets. And hell, their owner may be an ambassador by the time next year rolls around, so he might not even be part of the equation. I suspect they'll ride with Rodgers. And I know that's probably not what Jets fans want to hear at this very moment, but I do think you take the offseason, maybe retool the roster a little bit, obviously probably hire a new head coach, and we'll see how that goes. But I don't think if Rodgers wants to play, he'll play. I don't think there's much the Jets can do about it. Funko, what's up? Thanks for the chat, man. Why do you think they keep putting Stokes out there instead of Carrington Valentine? Stokes seems like a bad play waiting to happen. Yeah, man, it's a mystery. We talked about this a couple weeks ago where, when they did have the injury strike, they did have a bit more of a split, right, between Stokes and Valentine, although Stokes did still play a few more snaps than Carrington did. But yeah, I said it, I think it was on last week's transplants. It's done, man. Whatever was going to happen with Eric Stokes has happened, right? You got what you could out of him that rookie year. Second year was a struggle, and then he got hurt. And ever since then, it has been hard to watch. And I haven't seen anything other than kind of a stretch there in training camp this summer where you thought, okay, I can see a glimmer, right? There was absolutely what looked like a revitalized player, certainly looked a little bit more physical, definitely looked like he was taking to the scheme, but that has not translated to the regular season in any meaningful way. And it has been hard to watch teams continuously pick on him because they know they can. That's what's so tough as a fan sitting here going, all right, at least give me Valentine, who we know mixes it up. And yes, he gets beat sometimes as well. But man, he always comes back with a vengeance after getting beat. Like he really has kind of that mentality that you love at corner. Whereas Stokes, it always feels like it's kind of snowballing on him and teams continuously go after him because they know they can. I don't know, man. It's hard to sit here on the outside and understand why, unless there's some kind of lingering injury issue with Valentine. Don't forget he was on the shelf for a while, you know. If maybe that's driving that decision, it's the only thing I can think of because I don't think, especially given where they are in their careers, I definitely want Valentine out there more so he's getting reps, so he is improving as a young player who has not played a ton of football. I know he was thrust into action last year, but it's not like he's a long-term player in the league. He's still figuring things out. Whereas with Stokes, man, like I said, whatever he was going to do in the NFL, he has done it. It's just hard to watch now. What else we got here, folks? Aaron Harper, Big Mike and Aaron reunion in New York next year. God, could you imagine? Could you imagine if the Jets hired Mike McCarthy? Oh my God. I mean, that'll never happen, but that would be amazing. I would laugh hard. Abdul, thanks again, man. Are you exercising the fifth year option for $7.95? I saw Ken bring this up on Twitter earlier this week. And on Twitter, I said, and we'll say also here, with Quay, absolutely not. Not at 16.5 million fully guaranteed. No freaking way. For Devontae Wyatt, I do. I would do it. I don't know if the Packers will. Obviously, there's a whole half of a season left to go, and we'll see how active and hopefully improving and disruptive we see Devontae get. I do think this scheme really seems to suit him a whole hell of a lot better than Barry's scheme. I think he's still a incredibly disruptive force when he's full go, healthy, etc. I would do it. I'd pull the trigger. Now, maybe he regresses. Maybe he has a bad second half of the season, and they decline it, which is entirely possible. But I suspect I would pull the trigger, and I think they will too, if he continues to play like the style and the production we saw over the course of the first half of the season prior to his getting injured. Matthew, how are you, man? So does it turn out Goody actually wasn't as stupid as some in the mainstream media claimed? I went through the schedule and think 11 wins is very likely. Yeah, 11 wins is definitely likely. It's very, very doable. But, you got to play those games. There's a game every week, and you got to, as Matt says, go 1-0 each and every week. As far as Goody, I think there's a pretty good appreciation for Gutekunst in a lot of the national media. I do think there are some stronger voices at times, big names, what have you, who have, thrown some dirt, no doubt about it. But I think for the most part, I think most observers of the NFL understand that Gutekunst is pretty damn good at his job. Now, I don't think Goody's perfect. I don't think anyone has said that. He certainly has made mistakes. Every general manager does. But overall, I think the track record is pretty damn good at this point. Abdul, thanks again, man. How's Slayton played? Haven't heard his name much. It's been inconsistent. Now he's played a little more, like more snaps per game, kind of intermittently, right? It does feel though, if Wyatt hadn't gotten hurt, I don't know how much we would have seen him through the course of this season. I asked Halfley about this in training camp because traditionally the way this scheme has operated in other places, whether it's San Francisco, New York, Houston, what have you, Slayton does not really fit the traditional mold, body type, etc. that you want. They Again, this is, traditionally what I've read and talked to people about this scheme. You want some leaner guys who can be disruptive off the snap of the ball, get upfield, blow up gaps, etc. Instead of guys who are more space eaters, right? Which obviously Slayton tends towards that side of things. All of that said, though, I think what they've asked Slayton to do, he has done well. He just hasn't been on the field a ton to do it. And I think it will be kind of that way for the rest of the season, probably opponent specific, opponent and scheme dependent, i.e., I think we'll probably see more of him against the 49ers than we will against the Bears, simply because they love to button it up, run lots of power personnel, power formations. They do love to try and run the football, right? And I do think Slayton will have more use in that type of game where, some games where teams are using 3, 4 wide receivers and spreading it out, trying to make it a space thing. I don't think you're going to see Slayton as much. Not to say he won't play at all, but I just don't think he'll be utilized as much in those types of games. Go Pack. Thanks for checking out the stream on Twitter. I'm biased, but it's Van Ness time. Go Pack. I had a bit of a back and forth with Zach Cruz about this morning because, Zach was very much kind of where you're at there. Like, it's time, right? Now Preston Smith has been traded. Got to think we saw the start of it against the Lions as far as his snaps increasing. Still didn't do a whole ton with them. I think this is an opportunity for Kingsley and Igbare myself. I think he's the one. And I know we've heard a lot about Van Ness and Mosby and even Brenton Cox Jr. got name checked by the coordinator today. But I think it's Kingsley and Igbare's time to shine. I do think he's been good at times throughout this season. Hopefully getting him on the field more, giving him more playing time will give him more opportunities to make plays and be disruptive and really get after it. Because I think with Van Ness, it's hard, man. It's hard to watch. You just haven't seen a lot. And that's not to say it can't turn on at some point, that he suddenly starts to figure it out, maybe the back half of this year. He is in his third defense in as many years, and he is still a very young player. But at some point, you got to win football games, and you're not doing it watching Van Ness being unable to win any kind of one-on-one, let alone bend around the edge and get to the quarterback. Like I said, it's been hard to watch. Marshall Duke, thanks for the super chat, man. You almost would rather Love take a sack holding onto the ball too long, Rodgers-esque, than to throw those forced interceptions. Absolutely, 1,000,000,000%. Now, you don't want to neuter the kid. I've talked about this a lot in the last couple of weeks. I still love the fact that he has the mentality of, I'm going to go make a play. So it makes him exciting. But you got to win games. You're not winning games turning the ball over, right? It's such a fine line. And as Matt says, and I know this probably gets annoying to listen to because he says it a lot, but he's absolutely 100% correct. Every one is a little bit different. And if there was or is a through line, that's something they will try to break down and hopefully coach out of him, so to speak, right? But yeah, one of the things you have to understand, and this is something we highlighted on Transplants last week, Don Mikowski was on Clubhouse Live talking about when you're a young quarterback, it's real hard to suddenly wire yourself with, okay, the defense won this play. When you're young and you got that kind of arm, you think, no, I can make a play. I can make this work, even when it's long past due, long past done. I think that's where Jordan will probably continue to struggle for some of this season. He's a playmaker. He wants to make plays. I'm with you, though. It is kind of funny how, we spent much of Rodgers' tenure going, just throw it. Well, he's taking sacks, throwing it away or whatever. Well, Jordan's just throwing it. And now you see why Rodgers didn't a lot of the time. It can be really frustrating. No doubt about it. Jim, I love it. Somebody teach LVN a move. I don't want to laugh, but you're not wrong, right? Man, it's hard. There's no real setup or counter. He tries the bull rush. He also tries to get around the edge, and it is almost comical when he does. I mean, yeah. Yes, someone, please. Whew. So good. Brandy, Nags, first memory of the Packers beating the Bears? Oh, Brandy, that's a great question. I don't know if it's my first memory, but my earliest right now that I can pull is, speaking of Mikowski, the instant replay game at the end where he's almost, it looks like he's over the line and he throws the touchdown and we all lose our minds. And then it gets called like incomplete. And then they go to replay. And then upon further review, it's a touchdown. That was bananas. I can't tell you how little Aaron Nagler on that game, watching that game, little, I don't know, it was that little. I think it was in junior high or something. But man, coming out of the 80s when they absolutely fucking owned us, that felt like the beginning of something. Now, it didn't really start until Brett came on the scene, but that felt like, oh, okay, now we can actually play with these guys. Because for 10 plus years, we absolutely could not. That was hard, man. That was really hard. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to get going. I cannot thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack, go.